World War II was a deathly, infamous war across the globe spanning from roughly 1939 up until 1945. The U.S. entered the war in 1941 on the side of the Allies, including England, France, and the Soviet Union, as they fought the Axis powers, including Japan, Italy, and Germany, which was under the dictatorship of Adolf Hitler. I had the chance to interview Merritt Kelsay, World War II Air Corps veteran and a friend of my mom's through her work at the Gresham Public Library. Merritt grew up in the Dalles, Oregon, where as a young boy he walked along the historic Celilo Falls as Native Americans fished in the rapids. Growing up, Merritt struggled with an unstable household and severe economic trouble during the Great Depression. With an alcoholic father, it was up to his mother to take care of him and his two younger brothers.
We lived in what was a goat shed about 15 by 20 feet, no electricity inside, no running water. There was a spigot outside. They didn't have welfare or food stamps, and my poor mother trying to take care of us. I remember coming home from school to eat, and there was nothing to eat, and my mother gave me a milk bottle to take back down to the store and turn it in and get maybe a candy bar or something with it.
On December 7, 1941, Merritt's world changed forever.
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, I was in high school, and the principal had us meet in the auditorium and informed us that we'd been attacked.
Merritt enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Corps in 1943, straight after graduating high school.
You either joined or you got drafted, and if you get drafted, they can put you wherever they want, the Army or the Navy. And so I didn't want to swim. I couldn't swim, so I forget the Navy. And I didn't want to walk through the jungles, the Army walking through the jungle with all the snakes and everything. So the Air Corps was glamorous. When I graduated from high school, I took the troop train all the way from the Dalles to Miami Beach, Florida, and it was hot there, and they didn't have air conditioning. And I thought, oh boy, that's going to be great. When I get down there at those big hotels, there's going to be girls all over the beaches. And I got down there, and the military had taken over all the hotels for training, and all you had is servicemen everywhere. I told them I wanted to come home, but they wouldn't let me.
After the struggle of the Great Depression, the war was a way out of the tough circumstances, and life was better in the military.
Oh, it was great. You get good meals in there. I wasn't used to good meals. You get good meals and everything, and you get a nice uniform, and you get to fly and all that. This airplane here was the first one, Stearman. Open cockpit, you got goggles on, and you got seat belts. Just put your head out, and the wind blows by you, and you fly upside down, and if you better have your harness on, otherwise you'll drop out of the plane.
Wow.
So, and you did all kinds of maneuvers with spins, and this was the most fun plane. It's like driving a sports car.
In the summer of 1945, right after Merritt had finished his training, the war officially ended.
I didn't get over, and when you're young, you want to get in the action. So I didn't get to go over there. So I had the choice of staying in or getting out of the service, and I wanted to be a high school basketball coach and teacher. So I got out, and when I got out, I came back to the Dalles. Being a veteran, you got college, your college paid for it. And went to Lewis and Clark College and got my teaching degree, and I played on a championship basketball team.
World War II is widely known for the massive support shown from the American home front, as the country unified and put all their resources towards the war.
Everybody got in and helped out and collected cans, collected metal, and did everything possible to whip, to defeat Japan and Germany. Everybody was selling war bonds, and Betty Grable was on all the pictures and on the airplanes. Well, the rationing, you knew the war was on because you couldn't get so many things, you had to have stamps. They rationed stamps to be able to get sugar and different foods and so forth, you had to have a card, ration card.
You couldn't even get
yeah.
butter. You get this white stuff, and then they broke a little pellet, and
Yeah, it was like lard.
you kind
And you got a
of
little-
mixed it up, made it look like
Make
butter.
it look
but
like butter.
it was awful.
It was good. So when I went in the Air Corps, I had real butter. I was stashing butter under the bread and every place else.
Yeah, I've never seen it for years.
World War II veterans were and still are regarded as heroes.
Yeah, it wasn't like the Vietnam War. No, they were.
It was different after the Vietnam War.
Yeah,
People
they
hated that war so bad, and they treated the servicemen terribly.
We were respected and
Honored a lot.
honored. In fact, we're still getting honored. You know, getting flown back to Washington D.C.
One thing that Merritt was excited to talk about was his experience with the honor flight, in which World War II veterans are sent to the Capitol for a time dedicated to honoring their service.
And you go through the Capitol and eat in the Capitol, and the congressman talk to you, and you visit all the memorials. And they give you this, everybody got one of these hats and a jersey. It's an exceptional experience. When we flew back, we taxied in at the airport. The fire truck for the airport sprayed water on our plane as we came in, which was exciting. And then when you get off the plane and when you get on the plane, there's all kinds of people along the side, Boy Scouts, firemen, relatives, thanking you for your service.
World War II was still quite some time before the dismantling of legal segregation in certain states.
I was at Valdosta, Georgia. They had civilian buses that take the soldiers to town. So I got on the bus to go to town, and there was a black soldier that was in uniform, got on, and they made him go and sit in the back of the bus. And I thought that was terrible. He could wear a uniform, but he had to sit in the back of the bus. I was stationed in Mississippi and the salt floors, and they'd have drinking water just for the whites and the blacks, and restrooms for the blacks and whites and so forth. So it was, I didn't appreciate that.
Another terrible racially based issue of the time, specific to World War II, was Japanese internment.
I really always felt kind of sad because we had a Japanese girl there that was in the class, and she kind of got in tears, you know, about it. And the one thing about the Japanese, there was never a traitor, Japanese American citizen traitor in the United States. And after, when I came back from the war, there was signs up, no Japs allowed in here and so forth. So they were discriminated just like the black folks were down in the southern states.
As the war came to a close, the world was shocked and horrified as they found out what Hitler had been doing.
I mean, it's hard to believe that he'd do things like he did. I couldn't believe it. And it looked like he was going to take over the world. There's a good thing the United States stepped in to help Britain and others.
Also known for their cruelty was the Japanese army. Merritt's uncle was one of the third of survivors of 76,000 prisoners of the Japanese army that endured the Bataan Death March. The prisoners were brutally killed left and right, making it a scarring memory for any survivors.
I tried to get him to tell about it. Tears come to his eyes. He couldn't. It was such a horrible experience. He wouldn't even talk about it because tears had come to his eyes. And so I never did get his story. They treated our prisoners terribly. The best thing about it was that I got to go to the college on it, and then I got to meet my wife, and we were married up at the college by the first president of Lewis and Clark, Morgan Odell. So that paid off. One thing today, you know, in Afghanistan, we've been there 12 or 13 years, but you don't see any rationing. It doesn't seem to affect the people here at all. But in World War II, everybody had to contribute, you know, and so there's shortages of all kinds. We don't have any shortage now, you know, so what's the difference between we should have been in Afghanistan to start with.
I really think we were more patriotic as
Oh,
a
yeah.
nation back then.
Yeah,
I really
that's
do.
right.
Back in
Yeah,
those
no,
days.
everybody works together to beat Germany and then Japan. Patriotism, you know, to our country and
Education.
education.
So important.
So important. It's a good thing that you're gonna go on to college,
No,
but you should
so
go to Lewis and
important.
Clark. Got anything to add?
No,
No, I think that's
Education.
fine.